Welcome back, everyone, to the Delusional Fan with Geraghty and McCloud. McCloud, Geraghty. It is family squabble time. I'm pretty excited about this because it's not my family that I'm squabbling with.
You don't talk to them, apparently, so...
This segment came about pretty quickly only because Ryan told me about... it was Birds, right?
That's
okay,
right.
So his brother-in-law sent a text that Ryan thought was a troll text, and apparently wasn't. So I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna let you go with this one.
So I mean, it's I think early last week, or maybe even a couple weeks ago, and it was right after Charles Tillman had called it quits in football after 13 seasons in the NFL. Great career. Would never take. It was a love-hate relationship for me and Peanut. I respected the hell out of him. He was a great player for the Bears, but the things that he would do and the frustration he would cause as a Packer fan. It was a bittersweet thing, but he had a great career, and it was a couple days after that, and Berg sends and we have a lot of group texts in my family, and we like to communicate and talk about stuff like this, a lot of sports talk. But he just randomly throws out, serious question, who's the better pro, Charles Woodson or Charles Tillman? My initial response was straight up, just you're an idiot. I don't want to do this. I don't want to have this conversation. I'm at work. I'm trying to work. I don't want to get into this right now. And what's interesting is that as we kind of, as these layers start getting unraveled here, and numbers start getting thrown out, it was a little bit closer than I thought. It still isn't. It's still a no-brainer to me, but things were kind of shown that proved that Tillman was certainly comparable to Charles Woodson. Now, little, not caveat, but a prerequisite or a pre-thought here is that Charles Woodson he might be my favorite football player of all time. I've told you this before. I have told you this before.
Of all time?
Of all time.
You've never said that.
Yes, I have.
You said you might be your favorite Bear. I've never heard of all time.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. I said Tillman? I meant Woodson. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Charles
God.
Woodson. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Like,
We're talking two Charleses here. Excuse me. I'm going to refer to him as Chuck. Chuck might be my favorite football player of all time.
Okay.
And I mean this.
I do know.
I mean, yes. I was going to say, I could have said that. I may have even said that before he became a Packer. I hate Michigan with a passion. There's something about Charles Woodson that I love, dude. He's got a swag to him. He's always put up. He's not, and the accolades speak for themselves. I don't think there's ever been a more accomplished football player in football history from start to finish. I'm talking high school through. So, and anyway, as we get into this, what's your take on it? Who do you think is the better pro all time? Charles Tillman or Chuck Woodson? As us Packer fans,
do you want me to get into the argument, or do you want me to be rational?
I want you to say whatever you feel. I mean, I understand that we should have some debate here, and maybe you can play some devil's advocate, because I know you respect Chuck a lot too.
Even though our show is called The Delusional Fan, I do have some clarity moments on this show.
Sure.
And in life, and Charles Woodson is one of the all-time greats in my opinion. I also think Charles Tillman is too. Now, and that's where you and I have differed. Woodson, you're saying, is all-time first ballot Hall of Famer, no-brainer. I'd say Tillman is the same guy. That's where you and I disagree.
Mm-hmm.
What Woodson has going for him over Tillman is longevity and a Super Bowl victory. Those are the big things. Now, you can trickle down from there. Did Woodson have more Pro Bowls? Absolutely. Woodson also played for a team that was on top of their division for his entire career. So you will make more Pro Bowls playing for better teams.
What was that last? Who was?
Woodson.
Was on a... Say
when
it again.
he was with the Packers.
Yeah.
His team...
So that's not his career, but his...
Career. Yeah, well, the better half of his career.
Yeah.
Got to remember, he played a lot longer than Charles Tillman did.
Yeah, he played about 5 seasons longer than Charles.
So the better half of Woodson's career he spent playing for the Packers, who ruled the division. You're going to make more Pro Bowls. You're going to have better games playing for better teams. That's just the facts. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that I think Tillman is a better player. It means that Woodson had a better chance to be a better player. Okay? Now, when you start adding all these statistics up, and then you take into account the stupid word of proration, or whatever you think, because of the 5 seasons Charles maybe missed on compared, or Tillman missed out compared to Woodson or Chuck, that's where you then finally sat back and said, wait a minute.
That's right. And so here's the thing.
Before I give my complete opinion, let's talk numbers. Let's do straight numbers. I don't want any opinions.
Sure.
Let's talk straight numbers.
So, and I'm kind of going off this conversation that I had with them, but...
And remember, how many seasons did Chuck play?
So Charles Tillman had 13 seasons. Chuck had 18. So
18 to 13. It's a big difference.
It is a big difference. He had a lot more... he played a lot more games than Charles Tillman played.
And remember, the Charles Tillman 13 seasons were cut short the last 3 because he didn't even play full seasons the last probably 3 or 4 seasons.
Now, and I will say this before I get into the numbers. I can't stand a conversation like this where...
This is what if shit?
Well, not this what if shit. I like the what ifs. We're not playing that game if you want to play who's the better player, who is the better pro. I'm taking into account the fact that he got 5 more seasons out of his body. That makes him a better player. Okay? And so anyway, I'm just saying.
Stats first. Stats first. So go ahead.
That's
remember,
needs to be taken it.
Or I'm sorry, 15 or what was it, 18 to 13? 18 to 13.
Go ahead. And again, you got to take into account that
18 to 13. Go ahead.
18 to 13. So in his 18 seasons, Charles Woodson, he had 806 tackles, 65 interceptions, which is actually it's a lot of picks in a career. That's up there in the top 10, I believe.
And tackle-wise,
of interceptions.
And here's this is one of the reasons I like Woodson. He was never afraid to make a tackle.
No,
which Tillman wasn't either. But Charles Woodson, not only and this is scheme-wise a lot with the Packers too, would be one of those kind of backside robber blitzers that
towards the end of his career.
Yeah.
Yes,
they used to run a lot of blitzes with him.
Yep,
so.
Absolutely. So 806 tackles, 65 picks, and that was in 18 years. That averages out to about 3.6 picks per year.
Okay.
Tillman, 13 years, 773 tackles. And that's, again, when you start thinking about these players just before you see the numbers, I would have expected that number to be lower for Tillman and maybe even higher for Woodson. Granted how much more time he had to play. But 38 interceptions for Charles Tillman. So he's almost doubled in picks. Granted, he played 5 less years. So, I mean, that's one. That's just going off tackles and interceptions. If you want to go off sacks, and you just brought it up, there's a big discrepancy there. And granted, I understand you take things into account like scheme and where they're placing you.
You can bring up sacks real quick.
20
I don't consider
sacks,
that part of it.
20. Okay, thank you. 20,
nobody considers a good cornerback how many sacks you make.
But at the same time, it speaks to me volumes of the player. It
might add to the legend.
No,
it's not what a cornerback should be doing.
No, not even the legend or anything like that. I think it speaks volumes to say that a coordinator would say, you have the talent, and I want to send you on this blitz. I think you can get to the quarterback and bring him down. They would have done it more with Tillman.
Or I don't trust you out in the field to cover one-on-one, so I'm going to send you on a blitz, and hopefully the quarterback won't throw the ball.
Well, okay. Again, yes. And so we can take in the scheme and all those types of things. I'm not going to take away the fact that he had 20 sacks in his career and Tillman only had 3. Yeah. If we're comparing players, this is just the numbers.
Fine. Sacks mean nothing to me, by the way.
This was surprising to me. Well, okay. They mean a lot to people who actually get sacks. Surprisingly to me, and probably to most people, was their forced fumbles numbers. Yes. Woodson had 28 to Tillman's 44. Now, 44 is a lot in a career.
In 5 less seasons.
Right. I thought Woodson would have had a lower number than that. I didn't expect it to be that high. I didn't think he had 28 forced fumbles in his entire career.
When you're getting that many sacks and you're getting that many tackles, you're going to force fumbles.
Okay, and so, again, that plays into what I'm trying to say with regards to Woodson, though, is that... So we're going to take it away from...
but that also leads into Tillman's legend, too, because he doesn't have as many sacks, yet he's still causing that many fumbles.
Right, yeah.
So I guarantee you take a lot of those sacks Charles made, and I guarantee you a lot of those fumbles are associated with those sacks.
Absolutely, but again, are we taking it away from him that because at the tail end of his career, he was placed in a position where he can make a lot of sacks, and when he did that, he forced fumbles, so that doesn't count. It's bullshit.
Next.
Pick sixes, which I thought would have been a lot higher in a lot bigger discrepancy here. Charles Woodson had 11 interceptions for touchdown. Tillman had 8. So Tillman was actually right behind him. And again, if we want to throw in the fact that it's 5 less seasons, great. Play 5 more seasons then, bro. What I want to find is, and truly, my brother Adam brought up the best point. And so I do want to find this here. All I can say is this. Throughout his entire career, Charles Woodson played on the Raiders for a long time to start his career. I think he went to like 5 Pro Bowls, 6 Pro Bowls in the 7 or 8 years that he was there. Then he played his final 5, 6 seasons, and then he went back in Green Bay, and then he went back to Oakland. He was a consistent, pretty much you can call him at 9 Pro Bowls, you can call him somewhat of a perennial Pro Bowler. He ended up winning a defensive...
9 you said, right?
Yeah. And
9 Pro Bowls.
Yes, right.
That's a big deal.
Right, come on.
Yeah.
He won a Defensive Player of the Year, which, it goes without saying. I know this is obvious. It's his best season ever, but he won a Defensive Player of the Year. You can't take that away from him either. There's very few people who can actually say that they've won that. J.J. Watt's the only guy who can say he won 3 of them, or multiple. One of the only guys who said he's won multiple. So he won a Defensive Player of the Year award, and he was very impactful in winning a Super Bowl for the team that he was on. It ended up being my team, the Packers, but it wouldn't have mattered if he was Oakland or anything else. He was inspiring for that team that year. Okay. So there's other things that I bring into that as well. His leadership at the end of his career, what he was able to do leadership-wise at the end of his career. And I brought this up a couple weeks ago. If you take into the numbers, he has better numbers overall besides forced fumbles, and that's about it. And I understand. You can say he played 5 more seasons. It's not irrelevant to me. But if you were good enough to play an additional 5 seasons, you would have had better numbers. Maybe this is a different conversation. I think Hall of Fame voters at the end of the day, when they go to look at we're voting on Hall of Famers right now. They both retired. And by the way, hold on. They both retired at the same time, so they'll both be eligible at the same time. This will be very easy to judge in 4 years when they're eligible. Mm-hmm. I don't think Charles Tillman is a first ballot Hall of Famer. I just don't.
I don't think Woodson is either.
And I do. And I think you take into account everything that he's accomplished.
Not because he's not, but because they don't put defensive backs in first ballot.
Right.
Unless your name's Deion Sanders.
And you say that unless your name's Deion Sanders, or unless your name's Charles Woodson. Mm. I would, if you'd like, it's on recording and on tape now. If you'd like to make a bet, I would be happy to bet you money.
I don't want to make a bet. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do one thing for your family argument.
Sure.
And this is something where I think you and I will disagree on.
I don't know if you're confident if you don't want to bet.
Betting on what Hall of Fame votes in? Oh man, go.
But you're so confident that they're not gonna get in.
Here's what I'll bet you. And here's what we can go over the United States, or what the fans think.
Okay.
You have, who do you think's the best quarterback to ever play?
Aaron Rodgers.
Who do you think's the best?
I'm kidding.
Do you really?
No.
No. Who do you think the best quarterback to ever play?
Joe Montana or Tom Brady.
Okay. Well, let's say, because I'm a Montana guy, and I'm also a Brady guy, we'll say it's one of those two.
Sure.
Who's the best wide receiver to ever play?
Jerry Rice.
Okay, we'll both say Jerry Rice, right?
Yeah. Okay.
You have to pick one play, no matter what. You have a defensive back. You get to choose either Woodson or Tillman to cover for the one play with the best quarterback and the best wide receiver.
Yeah.
Are you saying you would give Woodson the call over Tillman?
In their prime? We get each of them in their prime?
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Why?
Dude, I feel like a lot of the conversation I was getting from Bergs and even from you is you're only remembering tail end Woodson. While you're remembering, hold on.
I watched Woodson blow up the Bears for years.
Very good.
Do not tell me that.
Very good. And I think you said earlier that he was playing safety a lot at the end of his career when he was blowing up Cutler. That's used against him. And my point is, if you're taking prime Tillman, and so I'm talking. Early Packers, Woodson,
just as a
Raiders,
back.
Woodson.
I'm not talking about anything else but defensive back.
Yes, and I'm telling you, I would take Woodson.
And you're wrong.
You're talking about Now, are we talking about letting somebody catch the ball because they weren't the best in coverage and then punching out the football? Or are we talking about actually covering the player?
The total play.
So bullshit. You said cover the guy.
I
take
play.
Woodson.
I said play on play.
Okay, then I still take Woodson. He probably intercepts it as much
where we
as
disagree,
he
though.
punches the football out.
I love Charles Woodson as a player.
I gotta find that. Anyway, keep
Charles
going.
Woodson as a player, but Peanut I would put ahead of Charles Woodson to cover one-on-one the greatest wide receiver against the greatest quarterback in a heartbeat, because I know that greatest wide receiver will catch the ball no matter who's defending him. And what happens afterward is what's important.
Okay.
You don't believe that?
No, it's not that I don't believe it. I think that's a very you're saying the best quarterback and the best wide receiver.
Woodson is no better cover corner than Peanut. Peanut is a better cover corner than Charles Woodson. I would put my life on that.
Okay. And again, I disagree. I don't think and certainly I wouldn't be that emphatic about it. I wouldn't say that it's a hands down he was a better cover corner. I don't. In fact, I completely disagree with that. Like I said, it's okay for you to allow. I would like to look back at the film and see how many times he allowed a catch to be made to try to punch a football out, and it didn't work out. Because that's what he did. That was half of his game. Was I'm not good enough to cover this guy. He's going to catch the football, and then I'm going to make a play.
His punches were never on the wide receivers catching the ball. They were on the guys running to him. All those tackles he made,
Chris.
Those are the punches he made.
Chris, that's not true.
It is true.
That is not true.
It is true.
Again, we didn't get a chance to look up stuff in terms of plays and actual footage.
Uh-huh.
I promise you there are a handful of plays where he has let up the catch and punched it out afterwards. You can't just sit here and make it seem like it was always just Johnny on the spot, Tillman.
He was Johnny on the spot.
No, he was, but it wasn't just this freak thing where he would always just pop up at the right time. It was a lot of times he was letting up catches. You have to take that into account.
Here's why I know you're bullshitting yourself. Packer fans have this thing about them. What they do.
This is going back to the Packers somehow.
What they do is they are hands down. They feel they're above and better than any other fan out there. Their team is above and better than any other team out there.
Sure.
Ryan, when we started this conversation, said the only Bear player that used to give me fits and used to frustrate me the most.
Yes.
Was Peanut Tillman.
Yes. I'm not changing that. I'm not going back on that.
Right.
Okay. So are we talking about the best player or the most frustrating player? Are we talking about
nowhere near the player that gave me
fits. for all the what's that?
Woodson is nowhere near the player that gave me fits the most. As a Bear fan, I never worried about Woodson.
but at the same time, you've said twice now in this segment how you've watched him torch the Bears for season after season. But he never bothered you.
No.
It was okay that he was pick-sixing. It was okay that he tormented Jay Cutler.
As much as Woodson,
I don't understand.
As much as Woodson can torch the Bears can still win a game.
Wait, say that again.
No matter how many times Woodson picked off the Bears.
Yeah.
I remember that game he picked off Cutler 4 times. That game was still close.
But who won the game?
The game was still close.
So
I
what?
didn't worry about Woodson.
Dude, I'm saying
it's more a Cutler issue than a Woodson issue.
Maybe it's that in the midst of it, when I say he was one of the most frustrating players I've ever seen on the Bears.
It's because you worried about him.
No, it's because
he was an impact player.
Yes, Chris, he was an impact player. Was Charles Woodson?
Not as much as Charles Tillman.
Okay, but he was an impact player.
Yes.
Okay, so the fact that he didn't worry you, congratulations. Tillman worried me only in the sense that I think at some point in this game he's going to somehow come around and punch the ball out.
I think in the end, I think it's 12 of one, half dozen of the other, or 6 of one, half dozen of the other, however you want to put it.
God damn it!
I will still, if I had to cover one guy at one time, I'll take Peanut over Charles.
Okay. I won't, and I think a lot of the things that were just said were like, it's okay for Tillman to do this, it's not okay for Woodson to do this type thing. So it's at the end of the day, he played longer, he has better numbers, he's a surefire Hall of Famer. I don't think Tillman is.
Okay.
That was it.
So that is the end of the Delusional Fan for this week. It was fun really watching you guys listen to Ryan be wrong for an entire 20-minute segment.
Sure.
We will be back next week with some really good stuff. We're going to go over NFL stuff, right? We've got
I would hope.
the we've got
I don't want
the
to talk about anything else.
we've got the West coming up next, right? NFC East, NFC West, AFC West.
Sure.
Next.
We haven't discussed it, but yeah, sure. That's okay. What?
I thought you wanted to say the Norths for last.
I do, but we still have a South Division,
All right.
too.
No, we do have. Yeah, but who cares about the
Well, that's all I'm saying. I'm okay with the West.
Yeah, Cubbies are still rolling. We had a good time with that, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Cubs are going.
Get
Got
really
football, training
patriotic
camp.
and put flags out on your lawn because the Olympics are coming up,
Yeah, right.
right?
Yeah.
Pretend that you
Yeah.
really care for what's going on in this country and you
Right.
still vote.
Let's just pray nobody gets sick, right?
Yeah. So aside from that, yes, I
Andrew Bogut's saying that they have to hang up their own shower curtains. Apparently, that's a big problem.
Sewed his own shower curtain. It was fantastic.
That's right. He's actually pretty funny.
Yes. Good week here at the Delusional Fan. See you to Charles Woodson. See you to Peanut Tillman. Two of the greatest of all time. That's all I have to say about that. The Cubbies are playing really well right now. My daughter is named after the greatest running back of all time.
Arguably.
He's probably the greatest football player of all time, considering he did everything.
We'll save that for another time, Riley. I can't do this again right now. We just got done with the nonsense that you were spewing about Tillman, so.
We'll see you next week.
Hope strong.